This evening we have Nancy Riedesel with us, and if you did see any of the advertisement, then you saw that I have her listed as a registered nurse, which somehow or other I got that impression. But she is a nurse. She is an L.P.N, not an RN, and she would like me to clarify that after it went everywhere that she's an RN. So what she really likes to do is help people learn healthy living skills, and this is what she's done for over 30 years. She loves sharing knowledge with those who want to learn about a healthier way of life, better foods, and how to effectively live within the essentials for health. She is a certified raw food chef who trained under her husband, Jeff Riedesel, who trained at Living Light International Culinary Arts School, which is the premier raw food school in the world. They have been teaching the principles of a whole food, raw food preparation for 15 years. So she will be teaching the essentials for health and honing in on the rest of your life. Please welcome Nancy Riedesel.
Hi there. And the reason why I asked Dana to clarify that I'm not an RN but an L.P.N and a retired one is because I don't want you to think I'm smarter than what I am, okay? So, we have an acronym, the rest of your life, and we're going to be talking about that tonight. And as you see, there are 10 doctors that we're going to be talking about. 9 specific, and then 1 will be the surprise at the end. And to where you can have mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual rest for the rest of your life as we start a new you. How many of you are familiar with Start a New You? A few of you. Okay, this is Dana's acronym, and I absolutely love it because each letter stands for one of the different doctors that I'm going to talk with you about. So to ask yourself some questions, what is going on in our lives and in the lives of our friends and family today? Do you sense a struggle in dealing with day-to-day stressors and challenges? Do things seem to be getting easier or more difficult to deal with? What is your life like today? Is it stressful, restful, discourageful, hopeful? Think about that for just a moment. What is my life like today? What can we do to change the outcome of our circumstances, to have a more restful and peaceful life? Do we need to be a prisoner of our own circumstances, or have we inadvertently chosen our life to be the way it is? There's an old adage, you keep doing what you're doing and you're going to keep getting what you got. Anybody heard that? Can you see where that's true? That I have a disease today because of what I've been doing for most of my life. I have a disease because I refuse to change. I don't feel good because I'm not applying the principles of life to my life. So if you want to have a change in your life, then you have to be a change in your life and institute a change. And we're going to talk about some of these things. So the first doctor we're going to talk about is the doctor in the sky. And this doctor, which is so amazing, can do amazing things. Sunlight has been proven and shown to annihilate fungus and destroy bacteria. So if you find that you have sickness in your home, spread open those windows, open up the curtains, let the sunshine in, and let it destroy the bacteria that the rays will hit. It gives your house refreshment, and it helps you to feel fresher inside your home. If you can get 15 minutes of sun a day on your face or your skin, your body will make all the vitamin D you need for that day, and we'll go into that more in just a little bit. The darker our skin, the more time in the sun we need. Why do you think that is?
Because if your skin is darker, it doesn't absorb it as easily.
That's right. It doesn't absorb it as quickly, and we have more melanin in the skin. So we're going to talk about this in just a minute. Before going into the sun, though, you need to make sure you have a good breakfast, drink lots of water, keep yourself hydrated, and not have any saturated fats. Because when you're in the sun, that will pull those toxic saturated fats out on your skin, and that can cause a lot of problems with your body. The ultraviolet rays of the sun can actually help form help a form of cholesterol produce the vitamin D under the skin. It takes about 2 hours for the body to produce that vitamin D. So it's recommended that when you go in the sun, you're in there for 15 to 30 minutes, your vitamin D will be produced over the next 2 hours. So don't go into the shower and scrub yourself off, because that takes off the special oils that help to form that vitamin D. You can go swimming, but that doesn't wash it off your skin. So it's necessary, vitamin D is necessary for the assimilation of certain minerals. Calcium. Calcium is the king of minerals. All other minerals will attach to calcium in your body, and that's vital. We have to have calcium. Vitamin D is also necessary for the healing and for the prevention of diseases. Do you know that we have a vitamin D deficiency on almost epidemic proportions in this country and in Australia? It is amazing that we have so much sunshine here, but we're not getting the vitamin D made because of several reasons. One is we are pretty much a sedentary society anymore. We sit at the desk, sit at the computer, talk on the phone, and we're not getting out in the sun. We're not exercising, and we're not getting that fresh air. People that don't get out in the sun are suffering from unnecessary diseases. And like I said, 15 minutes a day on 2 inches of skin, or your face, is all the time you need to create the vitamin D. Even taking vitamin D is not as effective as the sunshine. So God gave us that doctor in the sky. We need to use it. Sunscreens, on the other hand, is not good for you. It has PABA, it has chemicals, lots of chemicals in sunscreen. It blocks the ultraviolet light from getting into that skin and causing the formation of vitamin D. So if you want a good sunscreen, what do you think you could use? Anybody got a clue? Coconut oil. Coconut oil actually has a number 20 what is it? PSF. Yes, I don't know why that was skipping my SPF. Yes. I need to get out in the sun, get my brain going. So something else that needs the sun is our eyes. Now, you wouldn't go out and just gaze at the sun, would you? No, that would blind us. But our eyes need sun because the eyes are the extension of our brain. And our brain needs sun. So when we go out in the sun, we would naturally close our eyes or wear sunglasses, right? But we're finding that sunglasses are not that healthy for our eyes because the ultraviolet rays need to get in to get to the brain, to get to the control center of our brain, to produce the necessary hormones that need to be made. So when you go out in the sun, a good exercise is to just look up at the sun and close your eyes. And you just stand there for a minute, and the ultraviolet rays will actually go through the eyelids, into the eyes, into the brain, into the body's clock, which is very, very important. A lot of things today is dependent on our circadian rhythm. How many of you know what a circadian rhythm is? Okay. We as Americans tend to stay up late and get things done because nobody bothers us late at night, right? And then we want to sleep in the morning because we are tired, we're exhausted, because we didn't get enough sleep. So if we want to reset our body clock, we wake up in the morning and look at the sunrise. And how beautiful is that, right? God God gave us beautiful sunrises. And so we need to look at the sun, and then in the evening, we look at the sunset. Another beautiful picture. This sunrise sunset will help to reset our circadian rhythm, because what happens is at the end of the day, when we get to go to bed, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the hours of power. So we'll get to that in just a few minutes. Dr. Neil Nedley, who is an amazing wealth of information, says that 80% of people who are depressed are because of their circadian rhythms are off. So we want to make sure that our circadian rhythms are on. And when we view that first light in the morning, that says to the brain, the center, the control center, it's time to wake up. It's time to produce the hormones that are needed. We go to the bed in the evening after the sunset, and our brain says, it's time to relax. So we can gain very big benefits by going out into the sun. It was just discovered about 10 years ago that there is a receptor site in the eye called melanopsin. Melanopsin is a site that actually absorbs the blue light. What has blue light? The yellow sun. Go figure. And so this melanopsin actually changes the ultraviolet rays to get into the brain, to get the signals to the brain. It's really amazing. And this is just something new that has come. When we have that sunlight into our eyes and into the brain, it actually helps us to increase our tactical reasoning and increases our thinking, because the brain is actually waking up. It's very, very vital that we receive the rays of the sun. Our doctor number 2 is temperance. This is the doctor of moderation. How many Americans are moderate today? Not too many, but it's scripturally based that one of the fruits of the Spirit is temperance. And this is a God-given design that we need to be temperate, but it's also a gift of the Spirit. It's not something we can actually do on our own to be temperate, but we can choose to be and then gain that strength. The Oxford Dictionary says temperance is moderation or self-restraint, especially in relation to eating and drinking, but also in advocating abstinence. I like to think of temperance as taking into the body that, in moderation, that which is good for the body. And when you think of it in that respect, and you look at what you're eating, what you're drinking, what you're doing, and you ask yourself the question, is this good for me? And then do it in moderation. So I know that there's some people, like there's alcoholics that think, drinking in moderation, well, what's moderation to one is certainly not moderation to another. And there is no safe level of alcohol. Absolutely no safe level. Our bodies are not alcohol deficient. So that's not acceptable as far as your temperance is concerned. Children need to be taught to work. Children often are intemperate because I'm hungry, I'm tired, I want to eat. And parents often will feed their children when they are saying that they're hungry. But if we recognize, and we'll go into this also as we go through, that it takes a certain length of time for the food to go in and come out. How long a time does it take to digest? And then we recognize that, as we are going to be studying on rest, that the stomach needs to rest, and we feed our children accordingly. Then our children are going to be much happier children because their bodies aren't working overtime all the time. But temperance is something that children definitely need to be taught, from the little guys all the way up, because it helps them gain a sense of accomplishment. Caffeine is one of those things that this country seems to survive on, but it is not the best thing that we can put into our body. It interferes with the chemical messengers in the nerve cell communication. and increases the fight or flight reaction. It stops digestion and blood pressure rises. What's the common thing for Americans to do after they eat? Have a cup of coffee, right? Or have some Mountain Dew or some Pepsi or, Dr. Pepper. Yeah, this is not the best thing for our body. If it's going to stop digestion, we don't want that. We need our food to digest as quickly as possible. People that drink over 7 cups of coffee a day, and this is documented, can cause mental illness. I think I'd be floating if I drank 7 cups of coffee a day. I can't even sniff caffeine the way it affects me. But caffeine is not your best choice, and as you can see, there are all kinds of side effects from taking caffeine. It's really not the best choice. What is the best choice for liquid coming in your body? Water. Pure, clean, clear water, not polluted, dark, brown water. Where does alcohol come from? Where does the red wine come from? Fermented grapes. It has been found that the red grapes have a lot more resveratrol in it than the alcohol does, than the wine. So it's very important to look at the whole picture and compare the advantages with the disadvantages, the positive with the negative. So when you do that with caffeine and with alcohol, you're going to find that it's a whole lot better to resort to the natural liquids and the natural foods. Alcohol is the most widespread drug abuse problem in the United States. It is a neurotoxin. It kills brain cells. And when our brain cells die, we only got so many of them. Of course, there's a neuroplasticity that has been brought up today, that we can rejuvenate brain cells, but why kill them in the first place? We need to guard our minds. It's very important. Alcohol is a major contributing factor to the central nervous system damage, to impotence, malnutrition, and memory loss. It's responsible for the increase in vehicle accidents and an increase in domestic and non-domestic violence. I don't see anything good about that. Some other things that are things that we should not put into our body, and I think all of us can agree, drugs that are bad drugs. I know there's some prescription drugs that are needed by some people, but drugs always have side effects. Medications have side effects. So we need to look at healing our bodies by natural means and by having a better lifestyle and diet. Tobacco, of course, is a poison, and it affects everything in the body. MSG, although Dr. Nedley now says that MSG does not have the bad rep as it used to, it is considered by some as a neurotoxin. I know that my brother was deathly allergic to MSG, and he could get super, super sick if something had MSG in it. So I know it is an effect on some people, and some people it doesn't. 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether therefore you eat or drink or whatsoever you do what? All to the glory of God, our Creator. He's the one that made our body, so we need to follow what He gave us as a guideline. So let's take a breath of fresh air. Not only is it a good thing to take, but it's a good thing to be. Right? So many of us have this cloudiness around us that when we go into a room, we can sense when someone doesn't have the joy in their life, right? You've been around people like that. They just got this cloud about them. Well, they need fresh air. It's the breath doctor. Some of the benefits of the fresh air is, how many of you have been to the ocean? When you go to the ocean, how do you feel? Rejuvenated. Those negative ions that are there at the ocean is so powerful. They're rejuvenating. They will lift your spirits. They give you movement. They cleanse your body. It's an important thing to do. is to get these negative ions. We even have a filter, an air filter in our house that produces negative ions so that it comes out into the room, so it helps you to feel better. On a stormy day, you can feel the heaviness in the air, right, when it's cloudy. Those are positive ions. Those are not healthy for you. So smoking creates carbon monoxide. That's positive ions. Mold and some of the cleaners are also positive ions. You would think positive is good, but positive is bad this time. We need oxygen in our brain. It revitalizes the blood. It gets the blood flowing, and it gets the brain clearer and thinking. If you're feeling tired, it could be because you're lacking oxygen. We need to get outside, get fresh air, get to walking, get to moving, get that blood circulating. Oxygen is vital. Without oxygen, we die. How long can we be without oxygen?
3 minutes.
3 minutes? Yeah, it's vital. Some of the symptoms of lack of oxygen, if you're noticing that you're feeling fatigue, lethargy, nausea, headache. Headache is a big deal. And there's quite a few contributing factors to headache, but sometimes it's just a lack of oxygen. You're sitting, your blood's not flowing, and you're just tired because your blood's not getting your oxygen to your brain. So hydration is very important to get oxygen to your brain because it gets your blood circulating. So when we have a cup of coffee, it requires 5 cups of water to replace the liquid that the caffeine takes out of your body. How many people drink coffee and you feel like you have to go to the bathroom all the time? That's what's happening. It's dehydrating the body. So think about that when you go, or when you're tempted to have some coffee. Have 5 cups of water to go along with it to replace that. Okay, rest. I love this topic. This is a great one because it's one that I am amiss with. Rest is not my best doctor that I follow because I've always been a night owl. And I go to bed late, get up early, and I'm going all day long, and I never stop with my energy. But I'm finding in doing research and study that rest is vital for your health. And there's many different reasons how rest impacts your health. So there's a little gland in the center of your brain. It's called the pineal gland. And this gland releases the hormones, your rest and rejuvenate hormones, between the hours of 10 and 3 at night. And that's when your circadian rhythm is right on top. Those hours of power is where your body will release 4 different hormones that are vital to your health. The first one is serotonin. That's the mood hormone. If you wake up grumpy in the morning, could it be because you didn't have enough sleep between the hours of power? There's another one, the arginine vasotocin, which is your natural painkiller. So if you're having backaches or your muscles ache, you need to get more sleep between those hours of power so that your body will produce, your brain will produce the arginine vasotocin. An hour of exercise during the day will cause your body to produce more arginine vasotocin at night. And you don't have to do that 1 hour in one lump sum either. Dr. Joel Fuhrman says if you do it 15-minute increments during the day, that is even more effective than just doing it one lump sum. So that's something that we can all do. When you're working, you need a 15-minute break. So get out and do some exercise, go for a quick walk, breathe some fresh air, get some sunshine on your skin, go back and you're going to find yourself more productive. Epithalamine is a hormone that slows down aging. Who does not want more epithalamine in their blood, right? So we need that, but that you have to have it between the hours of 10 and 3. And of course, melatonin starts being produced around 10, 11, 12 at night, and that helps you to sleep better. So it's our nighttime hormone. So these are the hour of power hormones that's very, very important for us if we want to have an energetic day. So to increase our hormone production, exercise an hour a day to help increase that laughter. Laughter is a merry heart. If you go to sleep with a stomach full of food, and which is the American way, have a coffee and donut for breakfast, have a sandwich for lunch, and a big whopping meal at supper time. That's not the healthiest way. And this has only been, I guess in the last 60, 70 years that Americans have been eating that way. So switch it. We need to have breakfast like a king, lunch like a queen, and supper like a pauper. Okay. So if we want to decrease our hormone production, which we don't, what happens? What happens to decrease it? Worry. Worry is blind and cannot discern the future. Artificial light. And this has been proven over and over again. When we spend so much time in front of this plastic box, which is a wealth of information, that constant flashing blue light is constantly going into our brain, and it creates the electrical energy. And when we stop using the computer at midnight and we try to go to sleep, what's happening? The brain is still working. It's still being fired upon. So it's best if we get our circadian rhythm right between the 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the evening, whenever the sun comes up and goes down. We go to bed at 10 o'clock. We get our hours of power sleep between those hours, and then our brain has time to relax. If we're going to bed at 10, stop using the computer around 9 or 9:30. Get off your phone. Get them away from our beds. Don't let those frequencies, the radio frequencies, come in and affect our brains, because it is affecting our brains. Turn off the TV. You turn it on so you can sleep. Oh. Well, if you do these other things as an alternative, you can have soft music going. Classical music is considered some of the best music to go to sleep by. Spiritual, uplifting music, things that will calm the brain. We don't want things to get the brain going and active again. So it's really important to have those quiet times before bed. So the caffeine and coffee, of course, cuts the production in half of the hormones for 6 hours. And alcohol, of course, 41% reduction in the production of hormones, so that's not the best choice either. Meat is very high in amino acid, methionine, and methionine actually blocks the action of tryptophan. What does tryptophan do? It is your relaxing hormone. So the stomach also needs digestion. Now, we were going to talk about this. It takes 3 to 4 hours for food to digest in your stomach, and then another hour's rest before you should eat again. So 5 hours in between each meal. That's if you're eating simple meals, such as fruit. If you want to take a real sample of what we eat, how long it takes to digest, listen to this. From the time it goes in the mouth until the time it exits the body, fruit takes about 12 hours. Okay? Vegetables, nuts, grains, seeds, anywhere from 16 to 18 hours. Meat, on the other hand, takes about 72 hours from the mouth to the exit. 72 hours. What is one of the biggest causes of cancer in our country today? Colon cancer. Go figure. If the meat is sitting in the colon and it's rotting for 3 days, think about meat on the counter in your kitchen in the summertime at 80 degrees. What is the temperature in our bowels? 98.6, 96, 98.6. That's even hotter than sitting out on your counter. If meat is sitting out on your counter for 3 days, what do you see? Movement. Where does the movement come from? It's all the little worms that come out of the meat. So those are some things, just giving you a mental picture of what happens if it's on the counter for 3 days and it's rotting. What's it doing in your body for 3 days? So especially at nighttime and you don't eat fiber, you're eating a standard American diet of hamburger and french fries and a milkshake, that meat takes longer to digest. It needs fiber. So hunger pangs oftentimes is just the body's cry for water. The colon needs time to rejuvenate. Kidneys and the eyes need rest. Give them a break often. The fifth doctor I absolutely love. This is my favorite, because without trust in divine power, our divine doctor, we don't have much of anything. And I just brought a few texts out from Scripture that I wanted to share with you so that you can see how much He loves you. Psalms 34:8, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man that trusts in Him." How many want to be blessed? I do. Psalms 34:22, "The Lord redeems I can't read that. The soul of His servants, and none of them that trust in Him shall be desolate." What an awesome promise. Why not trust Him? "Trust in the Lord and do good, so shall you dwell in the land, and verily you shall be fed." We don't ever have to worry about being fed. The Lord says there He has never seen the righteous hungry or the poor begging for bread. "Commit your way to the Lord and trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass." What blessed promises. I just love the Lord. So another thing is a good positive attitude. It may not solve all your problems, but it will annoy enough people to make it worth the effort. Isn't that awesome? So you keep smiling, make people wonder what you're up to. It makes a difference. It is your choice. You can choose whether or not to let things affect you negatively or positively. If something bad happens, you get in a lawsuit, you have a broken leg, you have illness, how are you going to respond to that? Well, if you go back to the divine doctor and you recognize that He promises to take care of you, then that positive attitude is going to really help and get you on the right road. So it makes life worth living. We can follow all the 10 laws of health, but if we do it with a grudge, you're not going to do any good. So Joshua says, "Choose you this day whom you will serve. As for me and my house," we're serving the Lord because He's going to take care of us. Okay, the nutrition is something that Dana's going to be talking about tomorrow in the morning when she does her demonstrations. So I just wanted to just briefly touch on nutrition. And it's what we need for the proper skin, bone, eye, and blood function. The life of the flesh is in the blood. So if we are eating the life of diseased animals, if we're eating meat or cheese or any of the animal products, we're getting their blood into our bodies. And you think about that. How many animals are seriously healthy today? Not many. How are they raised today? In factory farms. They're raised in horrible conditions. And animals today are so diseased that many of them don't ever make it to the slaughterhouses. So when animals are diseased and they slaughter them and they make the meats and put it in the grocery stores and we take the meat and we take it home and eat it, we are taking in the life of that animal, and oftentimes it is diseased. And then we get the same diseases as the animal had. So the life of the flesh is in the blood. Our life is in the blood. When we rejuvenate our blood by what we eat, what we drink, what we do, how we respond to the 9 doctors, then our life is going to be healthier. Sun, nutrition, exercise, water, all these things, and Dana will be talking more about that tomorrow. So the basic rule of thumb, eat the rainbow. Look at all the beautiful colors there. God has given us an incredible amount of choices to eat. And sufficient foods from protein, fat, and carbs when you eat at each of your meal will help you get satiety longer. And it is so incredible that when you eat correctly, you're not hungry from one meal to the next. If you're really hungry 2 hours after you've eaten, then you need to assess what you ate to see if I've had enough protein, enough fats, good healthy fats, and enough carbs. And then that should last longer in your body. The high fiber foods is so important for our body to be sustained 4 or 5 hours after we start eating. Exercise. I want to show you something to get yourself feeling better. And I'm going to come away from the microphone for just a moment because I want you to see a powerful little exercise routine that I do every day. And this gets your nitric oxide going and dumping into your system. Nitric oxide is something that your body produces to help build your immune system. And this is very, very powerful. So, this is what we do. We're going to stand up. Something everybody can do. And it's a little routine you can do. It takes 2 minutes every time you do it. It should take 2 minutes. Now, you might have to work up to it. So we're going to do some squats. Now we're going to go down like this and back up, down like this 10 times. And we're going to speed up. Speed up. Here we go. 10 times. Okay. And then after the 10 times, then we're going to do half jumping jacks. 10 times of these. Feel yourself warming up. Okay, and then we're going to do scissors. 10 scissors. 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then we're going to do presses. 10 of these. Okay, this is getting your lymph flowing. It's getting your circulation going. And then we're going to do crisscross. Crisscross, over one, under one. 10 of these. And then after you do 10 of these, you're back down doing squats again. But this is what you can do every day and several times a day to help get that nitric acid dumped. And this is very, very powerful. Our lymph cannot move unless our muscles move. So we have to make that lymph move, and the lymph is where the toxins are. So we want to get that out. Going to water. How important is water? We need at least 2.5 liters of water a day as a basic rule of thumb. And it depends on your exercise, how much you're doing, your activity level, how old you are, how young you are. But a basic rule of thumb is 2.5 liters. And the reason is because we lose that much water during the day. And as you see, our kidneys actually will lose 1.5 liters of water a day. The skin loses 0.5 liter, the colon loses 0.3 liters, and the lungs lose 0.2 liters. So that's 2.5 liters of water a day. So that's just your basics on how you need to replenish the water in your system. Your brain uses water. Your brain is 70% water. So you definitely need to have water in order for you to think better. A liter, it's just a little more than a quart. Okay, just a little more than a quart. Water is needed to create hormones, and we need hormones, especially during the hours of power. That's very important. And enzymes for the pancreas. The enzymes help to digest the food and help to create the different processes in our body. 75% of the upper body weight is held in the back. And you think about that when you have a backache. Drink some water just to see if that might help release some of the backache. 85% of the water is in our brain, so and the upper part of the body. So we need to always hydrate. Caffeine and sugar will dehydrate the blood. The best water is the pure, clear water. And mornings are the best time to start hydrating your body because you've slept all night, you've lost water in the functions of your bodies while you're sleeping. So first thing in the morning, get up, drink a quart of water, room temperature, not ice cold. Ice cold water stops your digestion. So the best way to take water is not in great big gulps, not drinking a quart at a time, but sip it. and get that water down. I can drink a quart of water before breakfast. And I just wake up, I sip on it, and I have it down before breakfast. And then after breakfast, I take another quart of water between breakfast and lunch, and then another one. And I'm just sipping on it during the day. That keeps the body hydrated, and then another one in the evening. So you get all your water in you need. Try not to drink water late at night, because then your body is really working at the night, isn't it? Especially the older we get, right? The smaller our bladders get. So a general rule of thumb is 55 pounds of body weight that you have needs a quart of water. So a person, say 110 pounds, needs 2 quarts of water a day. You figure your needs from there. Another way of getting water in is to do hydrotherapy. The feet have lots of little open pores in it. So when you have a headache, or you've got a fever, or you just don't feel good and you want to relax, put some herbs or essential oils and some Epsom salts in a bowl of hot water, a pan of hot water. Soak your feet in it, and you'll be amazed at how much better you're going to feel. It's just awesome. Headache, stress, congestive heart, congestive chest, abdominal discomfort are all related to the reflexes in the feet. So when you put your feet in hot water, you're going to find that you're going to feel a whole lot better. And then the last doctor is you. And what do you have over everything else? Your choice. God has given each one the ability to choose. Choose you this day whom you will serve. Either you'll serve appetite, or you serve your health. You know, you have to balance this. What is going to be the best choice for me for this day? How am I going to make my body healthier? You have the freedom of choice to do whatever you want with your body, right? No, we don't. Because these bodies are not our own. According to Scripture, the Bible says, 1 Corinthians 3:16 and 17, do you not know that you are the temple of God, and the Spirit of God dwells in you? If any man defile this temple, him shall God destroy, for the temple of God is holy, which temple you are. And 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20 is, what? Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which you have of God, and you are not your own? For you have been bought with a price. Therefore, glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's. And then the last one, 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether therefore you eat or drink or whatever you do, do all to the glory of God. And that way you can have great health or poor health. It's your choice. What do you want? The evidence is clearly presented. If we follow the 10 laws of health, recognize these are not suggestions, but they are health laws, then your body and you will benefit, and you will have the rest of your life.